Imagine making the Olympics at just 16 years old and then quitting your sport completely 2 months later. That's exactly what happened to Alysa Liu. But what happened next would lead to one of the most unexpected comebacks in Olympic figure skating history. And to understand why, we actually have to go back decades before she was even born, to a daring political escape from China, a father determined to build a new life in America, and a young girl who eventually had to rediscover why she loved skating in the first place. Alysa Liu was born in August 2005 in California, but her story really begins with her father, Arthur Liu. Before coming to the United States, Arthur was a political activist in China. In 1989, he took part in demonstrations supporting democracy movements tied to the protests that culminated in the Tiananmen Square protests. When the Chinese government began arresting activists, many protesters suddenly found themselves in serious danger. Some needed to escape immediately. That's when a secret operation stepped in. It was called Operation Yellowbird. The operation was largely coordinated through Hong Kong and helped smuggle political dissidents out of mainland China and into safety overseas. The name Yellowbird comes from an old Chinese expression. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the yellow bird behind. In other words, someone might think they're in control of a situation, while another force is quietly watching from behind. For the activists fleeing China, the yellow birds were the people secretly helping them escape. Arthur Liu was one of those activists. With the help of Operation Yellowbird, he managed to leave China and eventually start a new life in the United States. He studied law at the University of California, eventually becoming a lawyer and starting his own legal practice. But even as his career grew, he felt something was missing. He had always dreamed of having a family. By the time Arthur was around 40 years old, he realized he still didn't have children, so he made a bold decision. He would become a father on his own. Through a surrogate, Arthur had 5 children. Alysa was the eldest, and 3 of her younger siblings were triplets. Suddenly, Arthur found himself as a single dad raising 5 kids. It wasn't easy. So his mother moved from China to California to help raise the children. The household was busy, chaotic, and full of energy. But in the middle of all that activity, something unexpected happened. One of the kids showed a remarkable talent. Alysa first stepped onto the ice when she was just 5 years old. And almost immediately, people noticed something special, her natural talent. Her father saw the potential too. Arthur poured time, energy, and money into helping Alysa develop her talent. By the time she was just 7 years old, she was already competing at the national level. But with that success came something else: pressure. As Alysa grew older, skating started taking over more and more of her life. Training, competitions, travel, practice again. Eventually, it began to feel like skating wasn't even really hers anymore. According to Alysa, it sometimes felt like skating had become basically her dad's business. And when something you once loved begins to feel like an obligation, it can completely change how you experience it. Then something happened that no one expected. In 2020, the world shut down due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Ice rinks closed, competitions were cancelled, even the 2022 Winter Olympics were postponed. For the first time in years, Alysa suddenly had time away from skating. No daily training, no constant pressure. Instead, she spent time with her siblings, relaxing, living a more normal teenage life. And during that break, she realized something surprising. When skating wasn't forced, she actually missed it. For the first time in years, she remembered why she loved the sport. When the Olympics finally arrived in 2022, Alysa was only 16 years old. She was the youngest member of Team USA, and she delivered an incredible performance. For most athletes, that would be the beginning of an Olympic career. But just 2 months later, in April 2022, Alysa shocked the skating world. She announced her retirement at just 16 years old. In an Instagram post, she wrote, "I honestly never thought I would have accomplished as much as I did. I'm so happy. I feel so satisfied with how my skating career has gone." For her, it felt like the right time to move on. For 2 years, Alysa lived life away from elite competition. But slowly, the pull of skating returned. By 2024, she realized something important. She didn't hate skating. She just hated the rigidity around it, the strict schedules, the pressure, the lack of control. So she decided to return to competition. But this time, it would be on her terms. She would choose the music. She would help create the artistic direction of her routines. She would control her training schedule, listening to her body instead of following rigid rules. She would decide how to fuel herself rather than being told exactly what she could and couldn't eat. And there was one more big change. Her father would step back from managing her skating career. Although that decision hurt him at first, he ultimately supported her in the end. Now fast forward to 2026, Alysa Liu steps onto the ice again, but this time something feels different. She's not skating because she has to, she's skating because she wants to, and that freedom shows in every movement. But what exactly made her performance so strong that it brought the United States a gold medal in women's singles after 24 years? To understand that, we need to look at how figure skating is judged. Judges generally look at three main things: difficulty, execution, and artistry. And Alysa's performance delivered on all three. First, difficulty. One of the most valuable elements in figure skating is the jump. These are the moves where skaters launch themselves into the air, spinning several times before landing on one foot. The more rotations a skater completes, the harder and more valuable the jump becomes. Alysa included very high difficulty jump combinations in her program. This means she would land one jump and immediately launch into another jump without stopping. These combinations are extremely challenging, but they also add a lot of points when done successfully. Second, execution. Even if a skater attempts difficult elements, judges only reward them if they are performed cleanly. To score well, a skater needs a clear takeoff, full rotation in the air, and a smooth landing on one foot. They also need to maintain speed and flow across the ice. And this is where Alysa really stood out. Her jumps were stable, controlled, and very clean. Each landing flowed smoothly into the next movement. Finally, there's artistry. Figure skating isn't just about athletic ability, it's also about performance. Judges look for choreography, musical interpretation, and how smoothly the skater connects each element. Alysa's routine had beautiful transitions between movements. She used the entire rink, flowing naturally from one element into the next. Nothing looked forced or rushed. The result was a performance that felt both technically impressive and emotionally expressive. And when you combine high difficulty, clean execution, and strong artistry, you get a routine that scores extremely well with judges, which is exactly what happened. Alysa Liu delivered a program with hard moves, clean landings, and beautiful performance quality. And that combination ultimately earned her Olympic gold.